Senator from Nevada.
Mr. President, thank you. I rise today in support of amendment number 2109, just mentioned by the chairman. The Hirono-Heller amendment, which addresses Asian Pacific and Pacific Islander student data. In my home state of Nevada, as in many of my colleagues' home states, the AAPI population is one of the fastest growing. I'd like to give you an example of that. According to census data, Nevada's AAPI, or Asian Pacific and Pacific Islander population, grew by 116% between 2000 and 2010. Now, even though this AAPI group represents students who come from a variety of different backgrounds, Chinese, Filipino, Vietnamese, Korean, current law and the Every Child Achieves Act uses a broad, and I quote, Asian Pacific Islander category when reporting on student achievement. So basically, if you're registering as a student, you have one category, one bubble. It's called Asian Pacific Islander, regardless of whether you're Chinese, Filipino, Vietnamese, Korean, it doesn't matter, single bubble. And as a result of this single bubble, this student population as a whole seems to perform well. But the broad AAPI category hides big achievement gaps between subgroups. Mr. President, the current census data gives us this evidence that according to the 2010 census, 72% of Asian Indian adults have bachelor degrees or higher, whereas only 26% of Vietnamese adults do. Steps should be taken to help close these achievement gaps, create an environment where all students can succeed. This is critical to ensuring that our nation's children are preparing to attend college or enter the workforce. And that's why the Hirono-Heller amendment is so important. Our amendment would simply require school districts with large populations of AAPI students to show how these subgroups are performing. This amendment would also apply in large school districts with over 1,000 AAPI students. This represents less than 3% of the school districts nationwide. In fact, 11 states would not be affected at all by the Hirono-Heller amendment. It's also important to note that this amendment would only be used for public reporting purposes. It would not require accountability measures or intervention at any level. The bottom line is that having this kind of subgroup data available equips parents and local officials with the necessary information to determine how their students are doing and how to better support students who need the most help. Isn't that what these school districts are all about? Is to try to identify those students and to better support students who need the most help. As a father of 4 and a grandfather of 2, I think parents should have access to this kind of data to know how schools are serving their children in these specific subgroups so that they can make the right choice for their children. And school choice advocates agree. Charter school advocates agree. And the truth is that school districts across the nation are already collecting and reporting disaggregated AAPI student data. In fact, just this morning, Mr. President, I sat down with several school superintendents from all across my home state, told me that access to this type of data would be extremely helpful in their districts. Principals and teachers also understand the value of this subgroup data and how it reveals students that need assistance that would otherwise be missed by looking at the broader AAPI category. That's why this amendment is also supported by the National Association of Elementary School Principals. It's why this amendment is supported by the National Association of Secondary School Principals and why it's supported by the National Education Association. I'm proud that our amendment is also supported by over 100 AAPI, Latino, and African American civil rights groups, educators, women's groups, and the disabilities community. Mr. President, these groups agree with Senator Hirono and me that AAPI subgroups disaggregation is a top priority. I want to thank Senator Hirono for her leadership on this issue and dedication to serving the needs of all of our communities. I'd also like to thank the Chairman Alexander, and Ranking Member Senator Murray, in their efforts to not only put together a bipartisan bill, but also to move forward with an open amendment process during its debate. I encourage all my colleagues to vote in support of the Hirono-Heller Amendment to ensure that parents have choice and that school administrators alike are able to target students who need the most help. Mr. President, I yield the floor.